HarperCollins presents The Lake House by Helen Phifer. Read by Claudia Whiteman. Prologue. June 1919. The fairground filled the middle of the huge open park. Its lights were blazing so bright that the girls had to squint to take in the sight before them. The darkness surrounding the fair was a stark contrast. The air felt much heavier, where the shadows fell across the acres of trees and shrubs. Once they got close enough to bask in the warmth of the light, they were drawn inside the gates with no hesitation, their excitement taking over. Laughter filled the air, along with the smell of candy floss and hot dogs. Agnes's stomach rumbled. It was so loud that Eleanor giggled. There were so many people walking around smiling and chattering. Eleanor had never seen anything like it. When her sister Agnes had first suggested they visit the fairground, she had frowned and said no, but now, as she looked around at the brightly lit stalls, sideshow tents and carousels, she was smiling. They walked around arm in arm so as not to get separated in the crowds. The rides were busy, and Agnes rhymed off which rides they were going to queue for. She pointed to the ghost train, and Eleanor shook her head. Definitely not. They approached a red velvet tent where a man who looked not much older than them was shouting. "Roll up! Roll up! I dare you to come and see the monsters and strange creatures that haunt your dreams. Never in your life would you expect to see them in the flesh with your very own two eyes. Come inside and see the bearded lady, the world's strongest man, or how about the real living mermaid, who was captured by none other than a shipwrecked sailor who clung on to her for dear life after his ship crashed into the rocks. Come and see the one, the only, Windingo, all the way from the plains of North America. It is the most feared monster of all, half man, half demon, the only one in the whole world in captivity. Even the Indian chiefs won't look him in the eye. Are you brave enough to?" The two girls looked at each other and giggled.
"Should we go inside?" "No, we should not. It's just a shameless trick to take our money. There is no such thing as a mermaid or a Wendigo."
He stepped closer, towering over them with his top hat. His black cloak billowing behind him, he bent towards them and whispered, "How can you be sure until you've taken a look? If you don't believe that it's real, then I will give you your money back. Now, that's surely an offer two pretty ladies like you can't refuse."
"I don't know. I suppose it is. Come on, Agnes, I want to go and see the animals, not some scary monsters."
He looked at them both. "Yes, you are scared, but you, my little flower, look as if your interest is piqued."
"Come on, Eleanor. If you don't believe it, we can have our money back. Please, you know how much I love to be scared."
The slightly older girl rolled her eyes at her sister and opened her purse. She handed over the money to the man who took it from her, then bowed. "Take it from me. You will not be disappointed, but if you are, then I'll be here with your money." Agnes pushed her arm through her sister's, pulling her towards the deep red velvet curtain. Eleanor didn't want to go inside the tent. Her heart was racing, and her mind was telling her to get away from there as fast as she could, but Agnes pulled her through the gap in the curtains, and they were inside the gloomy tent. It was hard to see after the bright lights from seconds ago, and it took some adjusting before they could make out the glass display cases and cages that were lined up around the sides of the tent. Agnes stepped forward, but Eleanor stayed where she was, finding the air much thicker in here than it had been outside. It was warm, and she felt a trickle of perspiration form on her brow and start to roll down her forehead into her eye, making it sting. She began to blink. From somewhere inside the tent, which now felt as if it had tripled in size, she heard her sister's voice as she gasped. Eleanor felt the room swim and shook her head to clear it. Now was not a good time to faint. She felt her legs begin to give way, and she stumbled, catching herself against one of the glass display cases. She looked at the thing that was inside and froze. It was staring right at her. She screamed. It was tall and very gaunt. It looked like a man, but she knew that it wasn't. The whole thing was grey from head to foot, with a larger-than-average head, which had thick black tufts of hair sticking out from it in patches. Her eyes frozen to the creature, she looked down at where its hands should have been, and gasped, crossing herself. Instead of fingers, there were long, black, sharp claws. Eleanor felt as if she was suffocating.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?